The Cleveland Guardians just recently clinched the ALCS. And now the only remaining teams are them, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Mets. And already right off the bat, get settled on in, because this is about to be the most rigged umping and replay officiating that we have ever seen. Because the MLB knows they could either get a Yankees-Dodgers World Series or a Subway Series, and Cleveland is the only thing in the way of that happening. But man, this Cleveland team is just something special. It really feels like this is the year. And I don't want to bring any negativity to things, because that Lane Thomas Grand Slam was one of the all-time moments in the history of Cleveland sports. And overall, the whole Detroit series was wild. I went to 3 of the games, and I'll be honest, when they went down 2-1, deep inside, I stopped believing. But the team didn't, and I'm gonna talk all about it. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We're on the road to 40k subscribers, and with your support, I believe we can get there super fast. Alright, so going back to before the start of the ALDS, I made a video talking about how the keys to the series was Steven Kwan getting back to slapping the ball around, and my X factors were Will Brennan, Lane Thomas, and Manzardo. Well, unfortunately, due to what in my eyes was some poor managing decisions, Brennan didn't see much of an opportunity. There were a lot of things I would have liked to have seen done differently, but at the end of the day, Vogt is a first-year manager. He's got a lot to learn. And I mean, Cleveland ultimately advanced, and that is all that matters. And also, it's a lot easier to manage games from the couch. The biggest player in this series did end up being Steven Kwan. He was absolutely incredible. When I was at the game in Detroit, their fans couldn't stop talking about how annoying he was to watch as opposing fans. Defensively, he was a beast. He basically saved game 2, but unfortunately Class A blew it in the 9th in unbelievable fashion. And literally every time he was up to bat with a guy on base, he moved him into scoring position. He was most definitely the most valuable player in this series. And then the man of the hour, Lane Thomas, was a close second. Thomas had 2 of the 3 biggest swings in the series. That game 1 3-run bomb, and then the grand slam. And he also provided a huge insurance run late in game 5 as well. But looking forward to the series against New York, Lane is gonna have to be huge, especially if Naylor continues to struggle. And that's gonna be the difference of if Cleveland really can pull this off or not. Both Josh and Bo have to be better. Josh did have some good hits though. It's really Bo. He's been terrible and is a terrible player. I can't wait until the offseason when the front office goes out and gets a confident catcher. Definitely keep Hedges. He is the heart and soul of the team, but they need somebody else. And then hopefully Fry can let his elbow heal and he can work on the position over the offseason as well. Another guy who was huge in the Detroit series that honestly shocked me was Brian Rocchio. As a fan base, we all owe him an apology. He is built for the bright lights, and he stepped up in the moment. He was the guy that sparked a lot of the big innings, and he also made some elite defensive plays as well. And now all of a sudden, I see him as a future piece to this team. It's going to be weird next year, having him, Jimenez, Jose, and then Bazana. I'm sure things will work out just fine. This organization just has a way of making things work, and having too much talent is always a problem you want to have. But yeah, against the Yanks, Lane needs to step up, Rocchio needs to be big again, and I would love to see Will Brennan get a real shot, because Noel can't even make contact with the ball right now. But we all know who really needs to step up the most. It's Jose. This is his chance to finally take over the spotlight. This is probably going to be the biggest moment of his career. He struggled in the Detroit series, but he's still the guy everyone thinks of when they think of the Cleveland Guardians. And he needs to hit a couple of home runs, along with being super aggressive on the bases. If Kwan can stay this hot, and then Jose can drive him in, I think Cleveland really has a chance to do exactly what the MLB would hate to see happen. And also, in terms of Steven Vogt, he's just gotta calm down, and not always act on instinct right away. I know overall things worked because of that David Fry pinch hit 2-run home run, but overall, there were so many questionable decisions, like pulling both Manzardo and Brennan in the 2nd inning of Game 3, leaving the team with no bench, and pulling Boyd after 2 innings, and bringing in an inexperienced Walters, who nearly blew the entire game. But I think he learned, and overall, he is still a really good manager. We all know the reason the Yankees are successful is because of their BS short porch and payroll. Every year, all they do is spend a bunch of money on power hitters, and since they get to play 81 games in the Bronx, they rack up home runs, which leads to wins. So the Guardians pitchers need to do their best to avoid the home run ball. That is really the key to this series. And speaking of pitching, it's been announced that the Game 1 starter will be Alex Cobb, and the layout of this series is much different. There's going to be back-to-back-to-back games, so everyone is going to have to step up. The 4 horsemen are still going to see a lot of innings, but Eli Morgan, Walters, literally everyone is going to have to contribute, because we won't see those rest days in this series that there was against Detroit. So we need to see some length from the starters, and then efficiency from the bullpen. I'm assuming it's going to be Cobb Game 1, could be Bibee Game 2, but honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Gavin Williams or somebody gets put in for that game. But either way, you definitely want Bibee to pitch 2 games, and you want Boyd to pitch 2 games as well. And then the other games will be bullpen dominated. And one thing that would really help the pitching is just scoring runs early and often. The guards can't go over 20 innings without scoring. They will not beat the Yankees going on that kind of a cold streak, and I can guarantee that. Aaron Judge hasn't done anything in the playoffs, but he always turns it on against Cleveland, so you gotta expect a home run or 2 from him. Soto is obviously gonna be big, but outside of that, this really is a beatable team, and I love that Cleveland finally gets to play them in a full 7-game series, not a short 5-game one where you can't make any mistakes or else you are screwed. And nothing is guaranteed in baseball. I know next year is looking super bright for this team, but a trip to the ALCS does not come often, and the guards need to capitalize now that they are there, and they need to get back to that small ball guard ball approach. I'm not saying they need to play like last year, because that offense was abysmal, but they need to put the ball in play and move runners way more often. They don't always need to go for the home run, especially guys like Naylor and Noel and Fry. I know Fry hit that huge 2-run home run and got that bunt down, but outside of that, he was up to the plate in many big situations with a chance to drive in a run with less than 2 outs, and majority of the time, he struck out. It was not a good look. Anyways, I really wonder who the X factor of this series is going to be. Will we see Naylor get hot? Is Jose going to show us the superstar that he is? Could Fry hit another series-changing home run? This is where legends are made, and throughout my lifetime, I really haven't got to see Cleveland take down New York, and there would be no better time. I don't think Yankees fans would be able to handle a $50 million payroll team taking them down. In terms of the games, the first 2 will be played at the Bronx, and the obvious goal is to split and come back to Cleveland tied at 1-1. And then from there, you gotta win 2 out of 3 at Progressive Field to take a 3-2 lead back to New York. That is how the guards can win this series. Either way though, it's gonna be super fun. And again, you know there's gonna be a ton of New York bias from the announcers, the umps, the league, and so many other things. I know it's ridiculous, but imagine the money a Yankees-Dodgers or Subway series would make. So Cleveland has got their hands full. That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed it and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next and how you are feeling about this upcoming series. And until then, I will see you all later.
2 count like David Fry.
Get out, ball! Go!
Please!
Go!
Please!
Go! Go!
You just got deep